In the last video, I showed you guys kind of my little redneck ingenuity frame rack right here. And my uncle came over here a little bit ago, and we were kind of looking at it, and he's like, well, if you're worried about it pulling this or tipping over, doing that type of stuff, he's like, why don't you shorten these and extend this and put like a piece of wood or something right here? Because basically this bottom piece is what needs to come out. It got kind of hit right here. So somebody mentioned that it's probably twisted in just a little bit. So I think what we need to kind of do is kind of hook into right in this area right here and just really give that thing a good little yank, pull it out. This is, I guess, a high tensile strength steel. So it's, if you do weld on it, it gets weak. And in order to fully replace it, I'd have to drill out all the spot welds. And so instead of like sectioning it in right there, which I could technically do, but it just wouldn't be as strong, you know, and it's advised to not do that. It basically goes up here and it kind of branches out a little bit, and then I could section it right there. But in order to do that, I'd have to pull the roof, and that's no fun. So I'd have to pull the roof on both sides and pull the windshield, and I don't want to do that. I just want to get this thing done. So we're going to try to pull it. There is a frame rack, like a little mini frame rack for sale locally. There was also like a 24-foot, like a big frame rack, like the ones like V-Tune has. There's one of those for sale as well. And I thought about trying to do that, but I'm like, realistically, that's just too big. So it's basically, the one that I was looking at is the real version of this, like a portable frame rack. The other thing is we had one of a local guy message us that actually works at a local body shop and said we might be able to get it in over there, like after hours type of thing. So we're gonna work on this for a little bit tonight, and I guess you guys will know by the end of this video, because by the end of this video, this thing, freaking doors should be on it, and it should be shut, and we should be, I ain't gonna make a video if we don't get anything done. So here we go.
What's going on, guys? We're gonna take just a brief moment before we get too far in today's video and thank today's video sponsor. Today's video sponsor is Surfshark VPN. Surfshark is a VPN service that makes online browsing and security privacy attainable and super simplistic. You know, if you're like us, you're sure you're always on your device and you're always browsing the internet. You know, on average, I think we spend like 6 to 8 hours a day. So, I mean, that's a lot. So while you're browsing, you want to make sure that your privacy and your personal information, whether it be your banking, your logins, anything like that, are completely protected. And Surfshark VPN allows you to do that. So not only do they grant you the peace of mind while browsing, but it also helps clean up some of those malware, you know, those skimming ads. You know, you've been like me and you've been thinking about a product, and next thing you know, it's popping up on your Instagram or, you know, your Facebook or anything like that. This will help speed up those browsing speeds, because that's not going to be happening to you. You're not going to be getting everyone creeping on all your searches, you know. And one super cool feature about Surfshark VPN is, I don't know if you guys know this, but if you actually have Disney Plus or like Netflix, you're actually limited on what you have available to you to watch while you're just based on your country of origin. So if you're like in the UK or anything like that, I'm sure, you know, you might not see all the Marvel movies. Jump onto a US like New York or something like that, and you're gonna get access to way more availability. And even Disney Plus, you might not have it all in your area. But now, if you're like us, you're spending a lot of time at home, you may be working from home due to the, you know, recent situations, or even, you know, you have your kids at home and you need some Disney Plus. I heard they got some new stuff on there. Make sure to jump on the VPN and utilize it so you can have those options available for you. So guys, not only is Surfshark VPN great for your privacy while you're browsing, protecting all your personal information like that, but it also grants you the availability to browse with a little bit safer speeds, quicker speeds by not having all that malware and that ad lockup and everything like that, and gives you the access to all those different shows and availability that you may be missing out on depending upon where you're located and things like that. So what Surfshark is going to go ahead and do is they're going to give you guys 83% off by using code MotionAuto. It's going to be also in the description. Go ahead and click that. They're going to give you 83% off their service and the first month free. Go ahead and click it, get protected, get secured, and thank you Surfshark for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back to it.
All right, so we got the big dogs out here now. So anyhow, we got this 5-ton. It's basically a puller. So instead of like pushing out, it pulls, which is pretty cool. And this little hydraulic jack. So this is 10-ton, that's 5-ton. Basically just tighten the valve right here, and that thing just starts pulling, and you can see it starts lifting up. So we had the top of it triangulated up there with basically this post, so it wasn't going in as far. And basically it would kind of get to a certain point, put some tension right here. And because I think we're pretty much just focused down here on the bottom. So Straightened out this stuff a little bit more. I definitely still think it needs to be pulled just a little bit more. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and actually take this thing off, and I want to mount the front door on it and kind of see how that does with getting us aligned, and kind of go from there. All right, guys, so doing a little bit of testing on this thing. You can see the body lines in the front are pretty much perfect right there. And even right here on the door, like that's pretty good. That's kind of where we want it. This back is a little tight right there at the very top. But again, I think we need, depending on what we do with the quarter panel. But what I did, you can see right here, previously there was that big gap right here. Basically in between here and there's about 1/4 of an inch to, you know, maybe like 3/8, something like that, in between this door. And so we like not temporarily fixed it. We fixed it just to see how much more we actually need to pull this thing out. So we got about 2 washers in there. That's probably a little bit over 1/8 of an inch right there. And let me shed some light on that. So put 2 big washers right there. This top post is okay. And so it's kind of sitting kind of where it needs to be. I just went ahead and threw this panel back in real quick, and these things kind of sandwich it all back in just so we kind of, you know, could see how tight it's getting in the door jamb. But yeah, so the pillar definitely needs to come out. And another thing that we could do by testing that, to get this body line, I had to move the hinge in, and you could see how far this is actually, like the weather stripping, you can see it's in there kind of like a V.
There's like that here. It's like,
yeah, and then you come up to the front, super shallow angle, same thing right here.
It's like
super tight right there in the back. It's pretty much flat. And that's exactly how it is on the other side of the car. So we'll walk over here and I'll show you guys that real quick. Yeah, you can see this is how it is on this side of the car. Barely an angle on it. You can see nice little gap right there. The other side's a little bit tighter. These gaps, this actually might be a little bit tighter on this side, so maybe scoot the door forward. We could probably even tighten this up just a little bit in the front. But we need more power. I mean, just a lot of it is the right tools. Obviously, like we're using stupid C-clamps and, you know, like bolts and stuff, just trying to get this thing done. Like, just let's see if we could do this. Like, let's test it out. But I think overall, I need to get this thing on a frame rack or get some more pulling power with the correct tools to actually, you know, pinch onto the pinch welds and use an impact to like tighten the clamp on it, and use a big C channel to go around the pillar and literally sit there and pull 5 tons worth of force on it, because this is just really sketchy how it is. I mean, I think for a small pull, especially like front end radiator support stuff, this would be killer. I mean, we would just be able to get a lot of stuff done with that. But just due to the nature of how strong these cars are right in this area, and me wanting to do a proper repair, I don't know. I'm gonna contact the guy tomorrow about that frame rack in Denver. We'll maybe check that out, see if I could go take a look at it and maybe drag it home, because that's something that's a tool for the shop. I could literally fold it up, throw it against the side over here, and it's not gonna take up the whole shop, but I could still do stuff like this. But yeah, I guess we'll catch up with you guys tomorrow. That's going to be it for this tonight. Yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow. All right, guys. So it is a new day. We are back at the shop, and we're equipped with some more tools. So I tried contacting the guy with that like portable frame rack type of thing. His number's out of service. He said he was moving, that type of stuff in the ad. So, and that was like 21 days ago. So probably moved, probably canceled the number, all that type of stuff. But anyhow, I went down the street to the guy that did the framework on my truck and my Saab. What else did he do the framework on?
Did Dave's truck too, didn't he?
I don't know.
Oh no, Dave
He did my Saab and he did my truck. I think he did one more thing for me too. But anyhow, I went down there to him. He doesn't have time for the next couple days to actually get it in. But I basically asked him, I showed him what I was doing, and I was like, can I borrow a couple of your tools? So now we actually have some real tools. So you can see this is a big OC clamp. One of the things that we were doing before was just breaking those little tiny ones. Like, you know, obviously these things probably only have, you know, like 1,000 pounds worth of pressure or something they'll be able to hold. Whereas this is a big dog. And we got another little like pinch weld clamp to where we could actually pinch it on the pinch welds right here and like pull this out right here, this kind of stuff. So I think that's gonna help us out a lot. Got another little piece. So when I actually use my hydraulic ram with this whole thing, maybe it'll pull it out. So we're basically gonna test it, see how far we could get with it, and if we can't get it, I'm just gonna bring it to him in a couple of days, have him pull it, and this project will get pushed back about a week, but it'll get done. It'll get done properly. Yeah, I mean, basically all I need him to do is pull the post out, and then I'll just put on the new sheet metal, do the paint body work, all that stuff, and we're gonna freaking kick her down the, well, I'm either gonna drive it down the road or I'm gonna kick it down the road, so we haven't decided yet. What's up, guys? So it has been about a week since we seen the BMW leave the shop, and we got it back. He basically pulled on this post right here and got this thing pulled out a ton more. So in the previous video, kind of how I had it pulled out, I had some washers actually stuck behind here. So I don't know how he did it, but he actually has a real frame machine other than that silly thing that we were trying to do. So he actually has a frame machine and some posts and stuff that go to the thing, so he was able to clamp it on the pinch welds, and then actually has a post where it actually pulls, and you know, you could actually pull on it without like freaking caving in the rockers or like dragging it across the ground. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and pull off these doors since everything is lining up really good. You can see down here those gaps really nice. Down here before, this thing was in like a little bit over 1/4 of an inch, and that's how I had to have it spaced out. And then even this gap like back here looks a lot better now that it's all good. Kind of the plan is gonna be to not try to go that crazy around here. I think we're gonna try to go it somewhere in here just because this is pushed in a little bit more. Maybe we'll tug this out a little bit, but other than that, I think there's nothing to it but to do it. We just gotta take this out and hopefully get this thing welded on maybe today. We'll see. Alright guys, a little bit of an update. Last night I left the shop defeated at like 1:30 in the morning. I was just getting mad at these little things down here. Not super mad, but just mad enough to say I'm gonna get the right tools for it. So I have this drill bit right here. I think this is about a 1/2 inch one or maybe a little bit bigger. I think I need to get a 3/8 one to kind of drill these ones down here on the bottom. Because the bad thing is it's just at such an angle. Like look at that right there. It's like the drill like hits it and you're drilling it like a freaking, you know, 23.5 degree angle. So I already have the lines and everything marked on here, pretty much where I need to cut it. So I was just drilling out all the spot welds, and I was using one of these super cheap cutters right here, which came with like a 13 pack on Amazon, and I was going to use absolutely all of them because you pretty much burn through one of these things after one spot weld. I don't know why. So went to DNS today. I got the Blair spot weld cutter, which these ones are a lot better. The tips are a little bit better. And then I got an 1/8 inch drill bit to kind of drill to center it a little bit more so it doesn't hop out. And a lot of you guys, since we've been doing some more diesel stuff recently with the 7.3 van, a lot of you guys have been asking what happened to the cheap 6-liter that I bought like probably almost a year ago, that I was gonna like sell the 6.7 and do some other stuff, but I actually sold it to my my neighbor Brandon, that does all the paint and body work, and he just ended up painting it. So let's go check it out. It's still in the booth. Alright guys, so here it is. Now this thing turned out nice. I shouldn't have sold it to you. And what color is this? This is a Brandon's custom.
Custom. It looks like a King Ranch color, kind of.
It honestly, it like brown. It is. It's like a copper King Ranch color.
Yeah, it's more, I like it better than that red.
I shaved the emblem.
And what is this? That OEM, or is this just a silver that you have?
Color, just a Chevy one that I had.
Nice. Saving time and money.
They're gonna get trimmed.
I don't know how you painted that roof. That's crazy. There's like no room up there.
That got missed, but it's all good.
Alright, so we're at a weird point with this thing. You can see we got both the doors on it, and we're just basically test fitting it. So we got this line right here really good, the way it transitions down and going down there. Basically it just needs like pushed up a little bit, and everything right there lines up. But instead of like just welding this thing and just saying, alright, she's perfect, we went ahead and threw on the doors and double checking some stuff. So all the gaps and everything look pretty decent. We could obviously adjust these a little bit later. But this one seems pretty decent right here. The gap and everything right here looks all right. When we close this where it's gonna be, right there looks pretty good. But right now we have this bottom thing, which is probably sticking out like maybe 3/8.
Yeah.
Maybe a 1/4 inch, something like that. And I think what that is where that whole piece, like that inner fender well, it's kind of rounded like this. And so it's right now it's not as round as I think it needs to be, so it's pushed out. So what we need to do is go back and like hammer and dolly it and like round it so it pulls it in a little bit. And I think that's really the only way that we're going to be able to get this to suck back in so that we have a nice line right here. Otherwise it looks like it has like freaking mud flaps or something on it.
Yeah.
So
but otherwise it's
I guess that's what I get for only replacing one little piece out of this this whole section. But there's been a lot of time just like going back and forth and testing and checking and grinding a little bit. Like we're just using the flapper wheel, so we pretty much get it on there. It gets a little bit tight in one spot. We kind of grind the body line pretty good, but I mean it's getting close. It's definitely a lot closer than it was, and you can almost see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like the thing was when I bought this car, I had no idea that this was actually going to be like how much work it took, because I thought I was like, okay, well the inside of the door panel is going to be a little bit funny. Maybe we could like pull it out with a slide hammer, fill it in a little bit. But literally it was this whole pillar and just turned into a way bigger thing than I initially thought. Or I probably wouldn't have bought this car just because it's taken up too much time, in my opinion. And it just wasn't that wasn't in like that wasn't in my brain of the calculation. But we're getting it done. Slowly but surely, but we're gonna figure out this thing and hopefully get it welded on tonight. That's still the plan. Now check this out. The way the door hinges are there, you can kind of test fit them because they got these two little notches. So like it sits right there and then it sits in right there, which is really nice for playing around with all this stuff. But yeah, you can see we got decent. We got the gap right here. We got the gap good right there. Everything right here is looking good in all that area, but again right there we just got to get that basically sucked in because it just doesn't go in anymore. And you can see it almost needs to go up a little bit taller, which it would if we pushed it in. So you can see how that's just a little bit taller of a line. So I think once we push it in, that'll kind of naturally go up with it. So there we go. All right, boys, so I think we have landed in the final resting spot for this guy. It sucks that I do have to pull this thing back off and put that seam sealer back around the backside and then kind of readjust before we go ahead and get ready to weld. I did really want to get this thing welded for you guys tonight, or not really for you guys, more so for myself, just because I want to get this thing done. But I want to get this video finished out for you guys so that you guys have something hopefully halfway entertaining to watch, making a little bit of progress on something. So we went ahead and adjusted the hinges, adjusted this stuff, grinded a little bit of stuff, pushed it in right here. We played with the kind of the arch of that other thing and kind of sucked in that bottom piece, and you can see where it's clamped now. Played with it a bunch, cussed, kicked, screamed, did a bunch of stuff. And now we're in a good place, and we didn't even have to use any washers. We tried washers, and then we ended up taking them back out and then getting it back where it was. So it should be super solid. Again, the next video is you guys are going to be seeing this thing getting welded up. Go ahead and get all the seam sealer and everything on there, do the body work on it, and then probably prime the doors, the back sides of the doors, and then the jambs. And I think going from there, what we're going to do is get the doors primed on the whole, or jammed on the whole backside, get the jambs and everything done on it, and then we'll actually bolt the doors onto the car and then take it over to the paint booth, because we are going to obviously blend into the quarter panel and then blend into the front fender, just because it is a silver, and silvers are super crazy about just, they look like, I don't know, it looks like a completely different shade, like if you just paint one door on the side of a car and bolt it back on without blending it. So hopefully get this thing painted by the end of the week. That's kind of the goal. But yeah, hopefully all you guys are doing good, staying safe. Let me know in the comments, do you guys actually know anybody with the coronavirus, or any symptoms, or in your area, somebody that you know, something like that? I'm really curious. We have one local case where we're at so far, and then we have a couple, like 40 cases, and then like 100 in Denver.
Yeah, there's like 100, and as I saw, it's like 163. Now we're probably like close to 200. Probably
total in Colorado.
Total in Colorado. Two deaths in Colorado.
Yeah. So again, man, it's absolutely insane. Just everything's getting shut down. Like restaurants and bars and everything just got officially shut down here in Colorado. The only thing you can do is take out food. The only thing you can do is go to the restaurant. Everybody's staying home from work. I mean, it's a serious freaking thing. So again, I hope all you guys are staying safe. Hopefully you guys have plenty of food, and hopefully you guys have some freaking toilet paper. But I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully we'll try to get you another video tomorrow. If not, it should be the day after that. But appreciate you guys watching, and see you guys later.